Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Absolutely Completely Random Podcast, where for the last week I have been swimming in so much nostalgic 80s cheese that it's time for me to get out of the Velveeta. Tonight I'm going to be discussing Dragon Ball Super, the episode that is pretty much out by the time you're going to be hearing this, and I'm just going to be watching it as this is uploading. Because Vegito is finally coming! And I have some more Dragon Ball Super news that dropped last week after I finished the podcast, ironically. I'm going to be talking about Sausage Party. I'm going to be talking about Zoids Battle Legends, possibly being the best Zoids game ever. Oh boy. I'm going to be talking about some Dragon Ball Universe 2 again, some Intruder 3, and I'm going to be discussing the Power Rangers Megazord from the new upcoming movie. Because I just want to rip that thing so much of a new asshole, it isn't funny anymore. But, before we get any further, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce the sponsor for the ACR podcast, myself. So, without any further ado, here I am to talk about what I do. Hello, friends. Did you know that the holidays are fast upon us and that there are only 43 to 42 days left before Christmas? I didn't. If it wasn't for a sign at Walmart today, I would have known either. But, did you know that you still have a chance to get those Christmas gifts, those holiday gifts, Hanukkah gifts if you're Jewish and celebrate that, or any gift-giving religion that has a holiday coming up? It's time. And did you know that one of the best places to get a lot of this stuff is on eBay? And what better seller to swing by and say hi to than me? A-Roads 2012 on eBay. I have a 100% customer satisfaction rate. 638 positive feedback from both buyers and sellers. Not to mention a tremendously great stock of items like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, action figures, DVDs, anime-related stuff, collectibles, oddities, and everything else in general. Things that you would never have imagined having in your possession. But if you're looking for a stocking stuffer, or you're looking for something to give out on one of the 8 nights, or if you're just looking for something odd that you want to have in your room and go, see that? I got that online. And just brag it to your friends, swing by A-Roads 2012 on eBay. Because that shows you care. That's lowercase ARHOADS hyphen 2012. Don't forget, you can also follow me on Twitter at OtakuRoads. Alright, so let me give you a little life update with me. It has been a long freaking week. I should say it's been over a week. The last podcast was on a Friday because that last Saturday, my mom and I got a little bit of peace and quiet. My grandfather went to an appreciation dinner, and we don't go to that. So we stayed home, and we watched Pacific Rim and made homemade pizza. And that, I really have to say, was one of the best meals ever because it was made together. It was really fun, and it tasted delicious. It expanded as I ate it, and I felt full for the rest of the night. It expanded as I sat, as it was digesting, and I'm like, yep, can't beat that. That was just so damn good. So that was last Saturday. My mom liked Pacific Rim, by the way, so that was a good choice of movies. I could have took down Escape Plan. She probably would have loved that, too. This week, I also started the overnight shift at my part-time job, which I'm not a fan of. I still like my job, but I'm not a fan of overnight shift. Mostly because now I'm sleeping during the day, and I'm awake at night, and it's really having a... Let me just put it this way. It's really screwing with my sleeping, and it's starting to screw with my mental health a little bit. But I think I'm hoping it's only going to be for the season, so I can muster through it. It's only going to be like a couple weeks. I can suck it the hell up and just do it. It's like 3 to 4 days a week. Right now it's 3, so that's not too bad. They're 6-hour days, so yeah. And let's not forget, I need the money, so the pay's good for it. So either way, I'm kind of happy. So yeah, that's the life update for me so far. Yeah, there's that. But another interesting thing that happened this week, if you live in the United States, we picked a new president. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Everybody else out there picked a new president. I personally was laying in bed sleeping because I had to work Tuesday night, so I really didn't do anything. And the president was selected, and my one coworker was keeping tabs on it Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, so we were enjoying it as he was keeping tabs on it for us to see who was winning. About 2:46 in the morning, he finally looked down at his phone and goes, "Trump won." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I kind of saw that coming months ago. Like, literally months ago, I saw that coming. And I just want to stress this here quick. If anybody hears any chewing, I have some gummy bears and a 44-ounce Dr. Pepper so I can try to stay awake. Like I said, it's been a long week. So anyway, he was keeping up to date with that, and I thought that was kind of interesting. Trump got a lot of states. There was an elderly man on the radio. I think it was yesterday. It was last night I heard this. He was asked, what did you think of the election results as they were coming in with Trump winning so many states? He goes, Trump had better coverage than Verizon. And I instantly remembered what the map looked like, and I'm thinking, yeah, he did have better coverage than Verizon. Hell, I think he could give Verizon a run for their money on that map. So yeah, it was an interesting election. I'll give it that. Congratulations, Mr. Trump, President-elect. Of course, with every good thing, there is 115 bad things that could happen, and that people want to happen. And I avoid politics. I just want to stress this now. I avoid politics with a passion. I avoid them like the plague, like I avoid religion and a few other things. But this article that I read last night and this morning, it interested me. Basically, because Trump won the election, there is a tremendous outrage that he is not fit to be president. So much so that a change.org petition, and first off, I'd just like to stress when has a change.org petition ever really done squat, basically? But there's a change.org petition to try to influence the electors that do their actual voting. Yes, that's right. If you want to know how the voting system actually works, watch Adam Ruins Everything. Adam Ruins Voting. It's the one episode. He really explains everything. But basically, you're not voting for who you want to be president. You're voting for who you're telling your state's elector you want to be president. That's how it works, folks. And it's out there. I mean, watch Adam Ruins Everything. You can find it on True TV. I know clips are up on YouTube of it. So yeah, that's how it works. Suck it up. So there's a change.org petition out demanding that they figure out a way, or that they either abstain their vote or change their vote to Hillary Clinton. They are trying to get her elected so badly, it's not funny. Now, I understand they want a female president. Hell, I'd even like to see a female president. It has been a male-dominated thing. And I'm being honest here on this. It would be nice to see a change in that. That I am being 100% honest with you. It would be interesting to see a change happen. But they're going about this now like a 2-year-old throwing a temper tantrum, in my opinion. And it's basically because it's a petition. They are trying to get them to change their minds. It's gotten over 2 million views. I think the number was around 250 million, I think it was. So at least over I know it was at least 200 million, I think. But either way, that is tremendously insane to think that any being in the world is going to be swayed by a change.org petition. Those things are a dime a dozen, and they're all a joke. No one takes them seriously. There was a change.org petition to have all anime banned, created by some guy in Germany because he said that it's undermining the world because people strive to be NEETs now. And for those of you unfamiliar with what that term is, a NEET is not in education, employment, or training. So, he started a change.org petition. Yeah, that really got, okay, anime's still out there. Didn't work. No one takes them seriously. No one takes the change.org petition seriously. But these people are this completely pissed off about it that they're demanding, no, it's got to be changed. It's got to be changed. Now, whether or not any of this crap from the article was true or not, it's still interesting to see that these people are this annoyed that they have no choice but to go, no, we still have a chance to make her president. We're just going to have to force the electors to change their votes. We'll persuade them with a change.org petition. People, Trump won, okay? Clinton acknowledged it. She congratulated him, okay? The people went out and voted. And you can go, because this is the argument, I was having this with my mom today. It wasn't really that much of an argument either. It was just mostly a discussion. Thomas C. Dewey versus Harry S. Truman. Anybody ever watch the History Channel? Here's a little history lesson for you. Thomas C. Dewey and Harry S. Truman were fighting to both be president. The New Yorker, or the New York Times, declared Dewey the winner because Dewey had the popular vote. Yet, on Election Day, it was Truman who won because so many people voted for Truman. So you have this mentality of, well, if you get the popular vote, you become president. No. That's been proven in history time and time again. So, I mean, you're basically taking this like a gigantic episode, like a gigantic temper tantrum. I mean, California wants to secede from the U.S. because Trump was elected president. There are celebrities that are threatening to move to either Canada or Mexico because Trump was elected president. Guys, everyone, get a hold of yourselves first off. Take your hand, slap yourselves. Because you're just acting completely spaced out of your minds. So one person got elected. You realize how many people were pissed when Barack Obama was elected? How many people were pissed when George W. Bush was elected? How many people were pissed when Bill Clinton got elected? And you didn't see any of them fleeing to Mexico, fleeing to Canada, threatening to secede from the U.S. No, all because one person... It makes no difference. Arnold Schwarzenegger did something the day after the election. He had a video out. I liked it. It was on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube everywhere. He said a quote from his favorite president, Abraham Lincoln. My personal favorite president was Andrew Jackson because he was the only president in the history of the entire U.S. to actually get our asses out of debt. But Mr. Schwarzenegger's favorite president is Abraham Lincoln. And he read a quote from Abraham Lincoln. I don't remember the quote offhand. I don't have it on me to discuss it here. But it's an easy video. Look it up. But he has a point. We're still people, okay? We're still each other's neighbors. We're still each other's friends. Just because one of us voted for somebody else doesn't mean we're any different than we were before. I mean, my mom has classmates that up and unfriended people. Unfriended. They're lifelong friends. They're classmates. The ones that they have talked to for years on end, they have unfriended them because they are no longer good to them in their eyes because they voted for somebody else. Let it go. Okay? I want to make a passionate plea here, if I may. And this is the only time you're ever going to hear me do this, and this is going to be the end of this because this rant's getting pretty long here. Take a real hard look at yourselves. And I mean that. Think about it. Is anybody in this country right now, anybody that voted for Trump, or anybody that voted for Clinton, or anybody that voted for party number 3, because, there's always a third one in these elections. They just don't get a lot of stress about it. But seriously, are they any different than they were before? Are they the same person that you broke bread with before? Are they the same person that you talked with on the phone? Are they the same one that when you had a problem, that they were the first ones to come to your aid and help you? Are they any different now because they voted differently than you? We are all entitled to our own beliefs. We are all entitled to our own opinions. We are all entitled to do things the way we want to do them. Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. And the last time I checked, human beings are sentient. So what we choose to do, we're allowed to do. Granted, within the scope of the law, which means you can't go drunk and run over kids or something. But I mean in a form of what we choose to do, how we choose to do certain things. That is our right to do them how we want to do them. That's all I want to say on this. So I mean that. This is a passionate plea for me. I mean, it's going to go on deaf ears anyway. Who am I kidding? But take a real hard look at yourselves. I mean, seriously, look in the mirror. Pause the video, look in the mirror. I'll wait. Pause the video, look in the mirror, take a real good look at yourself and go, am I really going to be this self-centered just because the person that I didn't want to be elected president got elected president, and I basically isolated myself from everybody else because they voted differently from me? Everyone is entitled to their own ideas of what they want to do and how they want to do stuff, and that's their right to choose it, not yours. You cannot force your beliefs onto someone else. That is what causes tremendous amounts of problems that can never be solved. So that's all I want to say on it. That's all the further I'm going to go with this. So let's move on and get on with the podcast, and let's do this thing right. All right. So last week, after I recorded the podcast, Saturday morning rolls around, and I'm uploading the podcast, and I'm checking Twitter. Now, I don't usually go online when I'm recording the podcast for certain reasons, mostly because I don't want to get distracted, and mostly because I usually jot down everything and save the articles to a notepad, which this week I didn't really have to do that much because everything I'm talking about I already know. So there's that, and I apologize for the yawning. Like I said, long week. The Power Rangers Megazord for the new upcoming movie. Oh, God. It dropped. Now, I don't mean physically, you can go out and buy it. No. Not that kind of dropped. They described it, and they showed a picture of it, and said, this is going to be the Megazord. It's the toy form of it, so it's like the interactive, I think is what they're calling it, if I remember right. I don't know how to describe it, besides using the words, it's ugly. And that's about the nicest way I can put it, too. It is one of the stupidest designs I have ever seen. And I was in a decent conversation with a couple people on Facebook about this. Because the one's going, well, it looks like this. And I'm just commenting, it looks like, this meets this, and it's combining itself with this. It's really stupid looking, to be honest with you. Sorry about that. It looks like a ninja met a robot and has a fly coming out of its back, or it's trying to pop out wings for a jetpack. It's ugly looking. Not aesthetically pleasing to the eyes. I don't even want to know how this thing moves. And I'm trying to picture this as like a CGI sort of effect, because that's the only way I'm seeing them having this in the movie. If they're even going to have this in the movie. Hell, this movie could just end up being one gigantic smoldering crater into the ground. And that's sadly what I think is going to happen. This is going to be a blight on every single actor and actress in this movie. It is going to be a blight on their career. This is going to be that one movie that is just going to crash and burn. And we're going to be looking for the black box on it. Because it's horrible. God-awful horrible so far. I mean, I've already gone off about the trailer. And the last saving grace that this thing had, because I'm a huge fan of the mechs. I always have been. And this one just... I lost it after this. I'm like, why? The color scheme on it's really ugly because they have the 5 colors of the 5 Rangers. Red, yellow, blue, pink, and black. But they have them spread out on this thing so badly that there's no uniform style. The original Megazord from the TV series at least had a style. You had blue and yellow were the legs, the Tyrannosaurus, which was red, was the torso and upper body, the Mastodon, which was the black Ranger Zord, was the arms, the pink Ranger Zord formed the chest plate. So everything had a point and a purpose to it, and it all flowed in one general direction, and you could tell the separation of the colors. This looks like somebody just basically looked at their 5-year-old and said, does this look cool? Oh yeah, that looks really cool, Dad or Mom, and they just went with it. It's ugly. God-awful ugly, and that's the best way I can describe it. It really is. Because it's just horrible. And I mean that nobody should ever have to see something like that and go, oh yeah, you have that and everything else. But it's just so god-awful bad. It scares me. It bothers me and worries me. But yeah, you can find it online. It's out there. I think they even have it down for pre-order now. God knows. I don't know. It terrifies me to think about it. Because this is one gigantic nightmare. So's the movie. As I expressed it before, it's The Breakfast Club meets Chronicle, and it's trying to be I Am Number 4. That's all it is. And that's all it's going to be. I have yet to see another trailer. I have yet to see any footage. I have yet to hear anything from the cast. I have yet to see anything about, production, this and that. Nothing. I'm starting to think this is going to be one big smoldering crater. I'm really afraid to say that. First off, it's going to get killed in the box office next year anyway, because Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out in May. You have Logan coming out. Not to mention the slew of other movies that are coming out next year. It's never going to see the light of day that they're hoping it's going to see. It's going to be a horrible movie. And there's no way to beat it. Everything's going to just trample it to the ground and walk right over it. So, yeah. There's nothing you can do about that. It's done. It's done like dinner, folks. So just, I don't know. But that Megazord, though, is ugly. I can stress that. And it is one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. Like I said, you can find the images of it online. Maybe if I feel like it and I figure out how to do it without screwing anything up, I'll put the image up in this section as I'm talking about it. But if not, it's easy to find it online. I mean, look it up online. You can't miss it. It's on Twitter, Facebook, it's everywhere. Alright. Last week, the Intruder 3 dropped. And by this, I mean it actually premiered. Along with The Children Who Chase Lost Voices, I didn't watch, unfortunately. I don't have cable anymore. I don't even have a TV. I can't even watch DVDs anymore unless I have a laptop going and I'm looking for a portable DVD player. So, yeah. So, there's all that. But, Intruder 3 dropped last week. And, at least it premiered anyway, I should say. I like it. It's interesting. And I want to explain why it's interesting. It's interesting to me because there's an entirely new way of it. Like how the Intruder in the first two was this entity that invaded Tom's ship. It invaded the Absolution. In this one, Tom and Sarah are the Intruders. Because they're the ones that are on this planet. They're the Intruders. They're being chased by this giant worm thing. And that's what it is. It's interesting. It's entertaining. The first episode was only 2 minutes and 9 seconds. So it is short, and that does bother me. It's only going to be a 4-week event. It would be nice if it would be 5 or 10 minutes long, or even 15. Then I could see it. And you could break it up, during the night. Have starts at midnight. And have the first 5 minutes. Then like at 1 in the morning, have the next 5 minutes. And then at 2 in the morning, have the next 5 minutes. And then so like 20 minutes worth of animation broken up into 5-minute intervals. Or even I'm trying to think here. That wouldn't even work. But even like oh no. Okay, I got it. Even like 8 minutes worth of animation. Okay, not even a whole. Yeah, not even the whole. Sorry about that. It really took me a long time to think about that. My brain is really out of here today. Even just having it like 8 minutes worth of animation, broken up into 2-minute intervals, all four, at the 4-hour marks, would be entertaining. As it can stretch out the series, but at the same time, you're not really losing anything. You're still having the show going, and it gives them a reason to watch the whole thing. They're not going to go, oh, well, I'm just going to watch this part, then I'm going to go to bed. Because, oh, well, there's going to be more after, like on the next hour, there's going to be the next 5 minute, the next 2 minutes or so is going to be on. So that would be an interesting way to take it, but instead we get the usual, oh, it's only like 2 minutes, okay. We'll sit through it. What the hell? I have no choice. And that's what we got. It's still good. This week's going to be episode 2. I can't wait to see that. I'll be up. The clip of it will be up tomorrow. Which for me would be Sunday, so I'll watch it then. But all in all, I'm looking forward to it. But it's just interesting to see how they kind of went from, oh, well, Tom and Sarah have had people invade them. Now they're the invaders. Now they're the intruders. They're intruding on this planet. So that's kind of cool. So, yep. Intruder 3, Saturdays at midnight on Toonami, only on Adult Swim. Like I said, you can also pull up the clip like a couple days later, because I know there are internet nerds out there that bring it up. And Toonami themselves even have it up, like the Toonami Faithful fan page and the Toonami page on Facebook had it up. So there's all that going on, word and all that. Speaking of the Toonami Faithful Facebook page, earlier this week they posted a really heartfelt message to all their followers and everything else. They are asking everyone to please stop leaving hate speech on the page. Because it has now gotten to the point where they actually have to delete and ban people. And I want to take a moment here and say that that's bad. If you've actually hit that on a Facebook page that's open to the public, mind you, that you have people that are leaving hate speech on there, you have effectively created an entity where you now have to govern yourselves. You have, like, the page now has to govern the people that are leaving comments, and if they don't like it, then they have to ban you. And that's a problem. So, yeah, this is just going to be like a little public service announcement. Please try to be a little courteous towards your fellow Toonami fans, your fellow Toonami faithfuls, because you don't want to get banned from something on Facebook. It's a real pain in the ass. I don't know it from experience. I can happily say that. But I'm just saying, don't do it. It's not worth it. There you go. Public service announcement done. Moving on. All right. So South Park this week took after their Dark Week, which I completely forgot about, but it kind of makes sense that they really planned that out. Planned that out well. So South Park's Dark Week was last week. So this week the new episode dropped. It was called Oh Geez. Or as Mr. Garrison would say, oh, jeez, in his special way. So this week, Garrison won the election. Seriously, no screwing around on that one, huh, Trey and Matt? You guys just up and went right for the jugular with that move. Yeah, right for the jugular. But let me just give you the Cliff Notes version of it, because I actually had to ask my friend to make sure that I followed this and I got everything figured out 100%. To avoid Heidi finding out about his email that the chicks in the Ghostbusters movie didn't make it funny, By the way, I didn't see the Ghostbusters movie mostly because I'm just not a fan of Melissa McCarthy. I had nothing to do with it being an all-female cast. I actually was fine with that. I didn't really mind it. But I just had my fill of Melissa McCarthy. I have had my fill of her. So, yeah, I just want to get that out there just in case anybody's going to complain about it. But to avoid that, Cartman decides he wants to take Heidi to Mars. Great. The only place in the universe where there's no Wi-Fi. Listen, smartass, there's probability that if you're going to be colonizing Mars, they're going to have a server there. It ain't that genius. It don't take any rocket scientists to prove that. But speaking of rockets, in order to get there, they've gone to SpaceX. The company whose CEO wants to colonize Mars, yet they can't get a single rocket off the ground without it exploding. I just want you to think about that for a second. Hundreds of years, at least a few decades ago, Sputnik circled the Earth. Watch October Sky. Good movie. Sputnik circled the Earth, and it inspired one person to try to build a rocket. Well, okay, it inspired a whole buttload of people to try to build a rocket, but it inspired one person to not only try to build a rocket, but on top of that, and I mean on top of that, he went on to do other things with NASA. So we had NASA. You know how many problems and explosions that they had with the first few rockets. I mean, Apollo 13 even stressed it when they were trying to get the 3 astronauts to get into space right there at the first time to walk on the moon. Sadly, there were 3 astronauts that lost their lives in an exercise. They were burned alive because there was an electrical short inside. And I have an entire book, Space Exploration and Disasters. It's really entertaining. I shouldn't really say entertaining. Well, it is entertaining in a way because you're learning more stuff than I actually knew. It's got a lot of stuff in there about the Apollo mission, the Columbia disaster, and this disaster that I'm talking about, where 3 people lost their lives. They were burned alive in the capsule. They ended up using that as a learning experience, and they did a lot of fixes so that they wouldn't have that problem happen again, just in case. But they had so many problems with their rockets. Werner von Braun had explosions after explosions after explosions. Hell, Homer Hickam even made the comment himself, and that's the main character of October Sky, by the way, played by Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie, but Homer Hickam in real life. He even said that he built a small little rocket, stuffed it with the powder from 30 skyrockets. That was an actual thing that he did. He basically just made a freaking pipe bomb. That's all he did. He admits it. He goes, we learned from our mistakes. We learned. We were idiots at the time. We just thought, okay, just do this. It'll go up. Okay, problem solved. Ooh, I just lived out. Cool. Okay, I just accomplished what I wanted to do. Nope. Okay, got to really take this to the next level. I really got to think on this. Got it. So you had that, but they had explosions after explosions. But SpaceX, let's get back on topic here. SpaceX is a company that can't even get a single rocket. One single rocket. After decades of evolution, decades of improvements, they can't get one rocket off the ground without it blowing up into pieces. I remember years ago standing outside looking for that rocket that was supposed to go right up in the air, and I'm like, huh. And what's funny is that off in the distance, my mom and I figured out about where it was going to go up, because I had a little compass. We were figuring out, okay, this is the direction of the launch pad. Okay, so it should go right up that way, following the trajectory line. That should be perfect. I saw this little blue blip, like a flash of light. Apparently, it was bright enough to be seen up and down the eastern seaboard if you were looking. That was the rocket exploding shortly after takeoff. You had, I think they were the ones that did the plane thing that crashed into the desert. They had a rocket explode on the launch pad. Launch pad incidents. And Cartman's taking Heidi here. Brilliant idea, Cartman. You finally got a girlfriend. You're so worried that she's going to dump your ass because you made a horrible comment that chicks aren't funny, which you could say that was the old Cartman. You could easily just go, it was the old Cartman. I guarantee you Heidi probably badmouthed your ass half a dozen times online. And all of a sudden you can go, nope, I had to change her. I'm trying to change. That was the old Cartman. That's all you had to say. Nope. You're going to take her to SpaceX. Okay, so in other words, Cartman and Heidi are pretty much going to be dead. Or if they manage to survive, it'll be a miracle. But on top of that, we have Gerald and the other trolls. Basically, Gerald, a.k.a. SkankHunt42, Dildo Schwaggins, and all the other ones, minus the one that got killed in the episode before in Fort Collins. They're all basically approached by the government going, oh, well, we're going to need you to do some quote-unquote James Bond-esque infiltrating of the Denmark's troll trace. Oh, yay. You could just tell by the way that guy came out that he knew what was going on. The way that he was talking as they were eating, you could tell he knew. He knew what was. He was not letting it up. He knew what was going on. He knew this song and dance. He knew exactly what was going on. He knew what was happening. He knew who Gerald was. He was playing him like a goddamn fiddle. And Gerald just stood there and took it. So then they end up going to the server room where all the other trolls are, all dressed in suits, all holding briefcases, all having these neat little camera glasses, I should say. And it's like, oh, what are you all doing here? We were told from the government by Hillary Clinton that we were the best, and the funniest in order to do this. Oh, cool. Okay. So, we all got screwed because of you, Skank. Because they sold us out to the Danish. Yeah, that was a simple one. But the best part about that, they got the greatest Rickroll in history. All of a sudden, and a spoiler for you just in case, but you're going to be caught up with this by now anyway. The internet's blown up about it. All of a sudden, the briefcases open up. It's 9:30 Denmark time. The briefcases open up. And all of a sudden, you got Rick Ashley's going, never going to give you up, never going to let you. You have that going on. That's it. They got Rickrolled. And I can safely do that little bit of the song because that's the entire gimmick of the Rickroll. It is an oldie, but god damn is it a good one. I mean, they got Rickrolled, and it was funny. So there's that. And then the kicker is, all the kids in South Park are getting a lesson/lecture from a man on trial for raping women and a man who did the dance with no pants in the Oval Office. So, to recap, this week's South Park episode was entertaining, to say the least. I liked it. I enjoyed the greatest Rickroll in history. You're never going to see that again. That was beautiful. Oh, God, that was beautiful. Never going to have that again. But at the same time, it also started borderlining stupid. We're now officially getting back to that. Don't even get me started with the crap with the member berries. I'm even confused on that yet as to what in the hell's going on that end. I haven't got a damn clue. So there's that. All hell's breaking loose. All that's going on, and there you go. You're now up to date. So that's the latest on South Park. So looking forward to this week's. Kind of want to see what happens next. How the trolls manage to escape. I'm wondering if the internet's right, and if Dildo Schwaggins is going to sacrifice his life to save Gerald. You never know. Might happen. So only time will wait and tell. So Matt and Trey, good job. Keep up the good work. All right. It's time for some Dragon Ball Super News. And this is big news, actually. Last week after the podcast ended, at least after I finished recording it anyway, that night, to be specific, because I recorded on a Friday night last week. Funimation dropped a bombshell on us all. The English dub of Dragon Ball Super is in production. That's right. That is correct. I am not shitting you. This is not a drill, folks. This is not a drill. This has been confirmed by Funimation. The English production of Dragon Ball Super is in production. I repeat, the English dub of Dragon Ball Super is now in production. So this means that all of you fans that have been bitching and whining since Dragon Ball Super started, going, I'm just going to wait for the dub. Well, you're not going to have to wait much longer. It's in production, which means that you're going to have the first few, at least the first arc or two, in a matter of months. So, there you go. For the rest of us, we can just keep watching it subbed or just wait till they catch up. I'm just going to keep watching it subbed because we're getting up to the good part, which I'm leading into. Vegito's coming back! That's right. The preview for episode 66 shows us Vegito returning as Goku and Vegeta are forced to use Potara earrings once again to fuse into the mighty Saiyan warrior Vegito. And Vegito has learned a new trick. Vegito can go Super Saiyan Blue. I'm looking forward to this episode so much because Vegito is my all-time favorite character next to Goku. And seeing him go Super Saiyan Blue, he's just kicking Merge Zemasu's ass. And I mean that. He's just kicking Merge Zemasu's ass. Not holding back on him, not holding anything down, just going to town on him. Beating him to the ground. It's hilarious. I mean it is hilarious. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the English dub. Though I like the sub, but I'm looking forward to the English dub to see how good they do it. See how the first two arcs are going to differ from the two movies because, spoiler alert for those of you that don't know, those are the first two arcs. Battle of Gods, Gods, I had it right the first time, and Resurrection of F. Those are the first two, believe it or not, those are the first two arcs. So, yep, there's your spoiler alert, folks. Deal with it. Alright, so let's take a little trip in my TARDIS here for a second that I borrowed from Doctor Who. I don't think he'll miss it for a little bit. I think he was battling the Daleks or something. He'll be fine. So anyway, let's go back in time to the days of the Nintendo GameCube. Let's get away from the Nintendo Switch. Let's get away from the Wii U, which is now dead and buried. Let's go back to the days of the Nintendo GameCube. So let's hit the TARDIS and let's go for a ride. All right. So back in the days of the GameCube, there was a game called Zoids Battle Legends, an oddity game, rare now because I can't find another copy, and I had one that I scored on an FYE. Go figure. It's an oddity game, but it was entertaining, and boy was it good. The whole thing of it was that you basically play as Zoid pilots from different series, like Zoids Century, Zoids Chaotic Century, Zoids New Century Zero, and some unreleased ones, including the one from, I don't remember what the name of it is, then you also had Zoids Fusers. So, yeah, it was really cool. But with the new Zoids MOBA game coming out, which I'm not looking forward to, and I don't really think anybody is at this point anymore, it got me thinking, what was the best Zoids game ever made? Now, apparently there was also a Zoids Versus 3, 1, 2, and 3, I should say. I saw a video of them. They're really cool, but it's basically Zoids Battle Legends. It's the sequel to that. So they would be on the same par then, but since they were only released in Japan, I can't count them as English ones since I got to go with English editions. So we have Zoids Battle Legends, which came out for the GameCube. Zoids Battle Assault, which came out for the Xbox 360. You have Zoids Legacy, which came out for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. That was actually a really entertaining game, too. Think like a Super Robot Tyson, but with Zoids. Sort of interesting. And I got to control... When I actually managed to get my hands on Liger Zero, I wasn't giving up Liger Zero for a while. That was my go-to Zoid. Okay, so I'm going to pilot... Okay, so you name your character. I'm going to pilot Liger Zero. Once I got my hands on Liger Zero... Nope, I'm keeping Liger Zero. I don't care. Change the CAS to either Panzer or Schneider. Screw Jaeger. Nope, I'm keeping Zero. I'm going to pilot Zero for a while. Kiss off, I'm piloting it. Then you had like the Zoids Fusers that were in there, the Blitz Tiger, stuff like that. But yeah, those games, and there were a few other ones. There was like one that was released for the PC, one that was like an online game. But I kind of think Zoids Battle Legends was about the best out of all of them. Sure, the gameplay kind of lacked some muster. You could easily OP your opponents. The AI did squat. Depending on what Zoid you gave them or who you picked, it did squat. All in all, it was a fun game. And sadly, it was the best. That was as close as you were going to get to piloting a Zoid. Now, I mean that. It's that scary. I know that for the Xbox, the original Xbox, you had that, I think it was a Steel Battalion. That game where you actually had the peripheral that looked like the inside of a robot. That was the closest at the time that you could have towards piloting an actual robot. This Zoids game was the closest you could come to piloting a Zoid. It was a third-person perspective. Really great game. Unlocking Zoids was so much fun. Having different powers and abilities was so much fun. I got a kick out of it entirely. It was just that much fun to me. That much fun for me. And all in all, I appreciate it and I liked it. But then when I sit here and I'm looking, and I was looking earlier this week and I was looking last week at some of these other Zoids games that were out and some of the ones that are coming out, some of the ones that, only were released in Japan. And I start to wonder, okay, well, the game was good, but now compared to the rest of these, was it good? I mean, could it have stood the test of time against these guys if they all would have been released at the same time? And I have to ask that question to a lot of Japanese games, too. Because over in Japan, they got an entire game series called Another Century Episode, or ACE. This game was cool. I saw the openings for it. I saw the robots and characters you could battle with. It was a lot of mech. It was all mech characters. So you had like Gurren Lagann's mechs. You had Aquarion, so on and so forth. Was that cool of a game, but it was only released in Japan. It was one of those, they got it in Japan, we didn't get it here in the U.S. sort of deals. I would have bought it in a heartbeat if we would have got it. It came out for the PlayStation 2. I would have got it in a heartbeat if we would have gotten it. I mean that. But they have the Zoids games, like I was saying. And with that new Zoids MOBA game coming out, because there's rumor going around, at least a couple sites that I've read it on, have specified that it's only going to be released in Japan and that no one in the U.S. is going to be able to get their hands on it. That kind of bothers me. At the same time, it worries me. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm still a little under the weather yet. Like I said, it's been a long week, so yeah. But, yeah, they're saying that a lot of people aren't going to have access here in the U.S. to it because it's going to be a Japan-only game. Well, then what was the point of making the whole big speech about, oh, well, it's going to be made worldwide? Because that was the entire premise behind the... And it was the entire premise behind the website and everything else. So I'm wondering if it's just rumor that spread about it. That they figured, screw it. This is what's going to happen, but we're not meaning it. I don't know. I really can't say. It worries me if it is true, but I doubt it highly. But still, that made me think then about what games were all the best. Plus, I ended up watching some old Zoids episodes from both Chaotic Century Fusers and New Century Zero. And I was thinking, you know what? Zoids Battle Legends was about the best game. Out of all the Zoids games that hit the US, it was about the best. Because it gave us what we wanted for the longest time. The ability to pilot a Zoid. The ability to, I mean, granted, okay, it wasn't a first-person perspective where we're, actually sitting in the cockpit, although there might have been a cheat code for that, I don't know. But yeah, it was a cool game. I recommend if you can get your hands on it, it's really neat, and it is a rare GameCube game, or at least uncommon, but I think it's rare now. It's like Gotcha Force. That was a good game, too. But, yep. So, that's what it is on that. I'm just wondering if it's the best game. If you have any thoughts or comments to anyone out there, leave them in the comment section below. Be interesting to see what you think. You never know. I might even reply. Alright, well, besides the election being on Tuesday, some other miraculous thing happened. Sausage Party was released on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital download. Now, I talked about this last week, and that's what got Professor Clump here. Happily, I've been alerted via text message. He is tied down, literally, to the bed. So he isn't going to be running here if I mention food. Just to play it safe. Gummy bears! Huh. Actually works. Alright, so, so Sausage Party came out on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital download. I got my copy today. Yeah, I know. Well, a little late to the party. Well, I had to sleep on Tuesday. Wednesday, I was pretty much exhausted, and then I worked Thursday and Friday nights, so I really didn't have a chance to get it Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon, because, again, I was sleeping. So I got it today. I actually watched it. It's about an hour and a half, almost. It's like a minute shy of an hour and a half. Like a literal minute. It's a good movie. I can stress that. It starts off very well. Within the first 5 minutes, I'm almost wetting myself. That's how funny it is. But then it starts to get kind of more into the, okay, now we're just kind of making it like an action flick with talking food. And so on and so forth down the line. It's just, yeah, this isn't panning out. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Now, I've seen clips, and I thought, okay, there's going to be a little more between the clips and, between the clips that I've seen and what's actually going to be in the movie. Sadly, there isn't really that much of a difference, and there isn't really that much more in between. You have, like, maybe 90%, I really hate to say it, but I think I'm pretty accurate with that. Almost 90% of the movie is in clips that you can find on YouTube. Including when the food gets to the lady's house, as they call it, the Great Beyond, and find out what actually happens, and they all freak out. And I can't really say spoiler, that was in the trailer. The food, trying to figure out what they're going to do, and everything else. The clips pretty much just explain it all, and I honestly thought there was going to be a little more into this. It's definitely a movie that breaks the fourth wall, at least once in it. Right near the end, it breaks the fourth wall. It's definitely, it's one to get. I can say that. It's not one that you'd want to watch every single day, but it is a movie to get nonetheless. I'd get it, add it to your collection, then like maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, watch it again. Or like 2 or 3 months, or like a day when you really need a good laugh. And you want to realize, okay, we are a horrible race for a human. We are a horrible race of people. We are a total write-off as a species. There is that. Yeah. So the movie's good, I will admit that. The ending could have been better. Way better. They phoned that ending in. That's the best way I can put it. They phoned that ending in. And, yeah. So there's that. It's not a bad movie. There's a lot of swearing in it, but then again, you knew that going into it because of the trailer. There was swearing in the trailer. So you knew what you were getting into with the trailer, so yeah. All in all, not a bad movie. I recommend it. On top of that, today when I picked that up at my local Walmart, I found in the $5 section, Akira! The 25th Anniversary Edition. Now, that is a really good movie. I watched that. Toonami had up December. No. It was right around Memorial Day, the one year. They played Akira that night, and that was when I watched it for the first time. And I'm like, this is amazing. Then I saw it on Blu-ray, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm never going to find it on DVD. Oh, look, there it is on DVD, but I'm not spending $20. $5. $5 on DVD. I'm not passing that up. I would be an idiot if I walked away from that and goes, nah, I'm not going to buy it because it's $5. I could get it for $2. No. $5 is cheap. So I did. I bought it. It's a good movie. Definitely a classic and a staple for any anime collection. Definitely a must-have if you're a Johnny Young Bosch fan, because I still think he gets credit for a voice in that. Don't quote me. I think he still gets a credit yet for that. But either way, good movie. Good way to do things. Good way to have it go. So, yeah, that was really entertaining. Alright, so before I wrap this podcast up this week, I don't think I phoned anything in. If I did, I apologize. Like I said, it's been a long week for me. There was one last piece of information. And I apologize again for the yawning. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. The Your Name movie. The Mikoto Shinkai's Your Name was trying to get an Oscar run. I did find out earlier this week, like late last week, early this week. I think it was by late last week, I mean like either Saturday or Sunday, to early this week being Monday, that it actually is getting an Oscar run. So it is an Oscar contender, or at least a possibility to be an Oscar contender. Which means that we could actually have a decent movie get an Oscar for once. I still have yet to see it. I'm looking forward to trying to see it, if I ever get a chance to. And I've read it. I've read the plot synopsis, and I actually do like it. It's one that I really want to see how it gets from point A to point B. I've read how it gets there, but I want to physically see it. Reading the directions of how to get from point A to point B doesn't really tell you what point A looks like and what point B looks like and what the scenery in between the two looks like. And that's what I want to see. It's scenery between point A and point B. So either way, I like it. I really hope it gets an Oscar. This thing has done gangbusters and is still doing gangbusters in Japan. I personally hope it actually gets an Oscar. Apologize for that again. Like I said, I'm a little under the weather. I personally hope it gets an Oscar. It deserves it from everything I've read. The plot synopsis, it definitely deserves it. So yeah, I hope it gets it. I hope it wins. I hope it even gets nominated. Just getting nominated would be an honor. Because then they can put that down on the DVD when they release it. Oscar nominee doesn't necessarily mean we won. We were an Oscar nominee. That right there is an instant $10,000 extra. Just being nominated, that's $10,000. Because then people will go out and buy it because they're going to want to know, okay, this got nominated. It may not have won, but it got nominated. How good is this that it got nominated? That's what they're going to want to know. They're going to look at that and go, oh, all right, this is a good movie. Yep, got to get this. All right, not a problem. So, yep. Looking forward to that. Hopefully it comes out on DVD soon. Probably not, though. No, my luck. I think the studios will fight over who gets the rights to it. Just don't give it to Media Blasters. They'll fuck it up. All right, so that does it for this week's absolutely completely random podcast. So, if you liked my podcast, hit that thumbs up button. Since I am on YouTube now, hit the thumbs up button. You can also subscribe to my channel for more podcast content every week when it comes out. I'm also planning on doing a few other things. I actually have in the works, and by in the works, I mean I'm just trying to figure out a good way to record the damn thing. Andrew Reviews, where I look at action figures, movies, and other stuff. So, yeah. It's not out yet. I'm still fine-tuning it, still working everything out yet. So, yeah, that to look forward to. So you can hit the subscribe button to be notified when that comes out. If it even comes out. I may cancel. I may can it. I don't know. But we still have the ACR podcast. Yeah, YouTube on Web Designer 18's YouTube channel. This is me. So you can swing by, check it out. Your heart's content. All 10 previous episodes are up. This is episode 11. And if you have any suggestions for topics for the CU podcast, drop me an email at acrpodcast@gmail.com. Use the term topics for the subject line. If you would like to sponsor the Absolutely Completely Random podcast, please, I will not hold it against you. We can work something out. Same deal. Send me an email to acrpodcast@gmail.com. Just use sponsor, or I would like to sponsor in the subject line. We can work something out. If you have any ideas on ways I can improve the ACR podcast, drop me an email too. Even if you just want to say hi or say I did a good job and you don't want to have your name shown on the YouTube video. Feel free to send me an email if you want to give me some creative criticism. And I do mean creative. Don't just say like I'm a fag or something. That's insulting. I'm not, but that's just insulting. Don't troll me. Don't be mean. Be nice. Be kind and considerate. But yeah, just send any emails to acrpodcast@gmail.com. You can also leave comments in the comment section below. And for the ACR podcast, my name is Andrew Rhodes. It has been a pleasure being here with you for this last hour, and I will see you next time. It's time for me to go jump back into the swimming pool of Velveeta and go back to my 80s cheese. So until next week, I say sayonara, goodbye, and have a good one.